Hello and welcome to New Metal Unleashed. I'm Fozzy.
And I'm Beany.
And we are here to talk to you about all of the local up-and-coming live metal bands that we have at our shows for North East Wales Metal Productions.
And particularly tonight we're talking to Ward 16, who will be headlining the Friday night of Pentre Fest. Okay, so obviously we're here with Ward 16. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I am Dr. Von Stottenstein. I'm guitarist and general dog's body.
I'm Psycho Berry. I do the singing and the artwork.
I'm a shouting.
And the acting.
I am Wolfie Huntsman. I am the bassist.
And he doesn't put his washing away.
He's got a pile of washing on his bed behind him.
It's the mate's day off at the asylum.
I'm Rico Ramiro. I do theatrics, I do backing vocals, and I cover my dirty washing with a blanket.
That's a good one.
Thinking ahead.
Mine's just there in the corner. But anyway.
So you're going to be headlining the Friday night of Pentre Fest. It's something we're really looking forward to. So if you just started off by just telling us a little bit about the band, where you are at the moment, and the concept behind what you do.
Yeah, so we've just more or less finally finished the tour of our second album, which was released in 2020, but we were unable to do anything about it because of the
situation,
the bug. That we were all locked in for non-artistic reasons. So we spent the majority of 2022 touring the UK, which was fantastic. It was amazing to get the show out. So if you've not seen us before, we're Christ, how do you define us? We like to bring a lot of theatrics, a lot of concept, horror and whatever. We've got a storyline that runs through our show. So we're midway now through our trilogy of concept albums that we're putting out about a serial killer that we like to bring to the stage. So we took that stage show, our musical stage show, throughout the UK last year, and also the end of the year before, where we debuted it at Bloodstock, which was absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
it was incredible. We were at that show. It was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
It was through the seat of our pants. It was the first time we played those songs live. It was Psycho Berry had the baby 2 weeks before. First gig for our drummer.
I was still breastfeeding backstage just before we went on.
It was just a nightmare. And to be fair, we tried to prepare as much as we could, but because it was all lockdown and things like that, and obviously we were conscious of Psycho Berry not being able to fit into certain suits and things like that at the time.
We literally went shopping about a week before, didn't we? Because I was like, I can't fit in anything. And I couldn't obviously go trying things on whilst I was really pregnant either.
Yeah, so we tried to bring the biggest, silliest show that we could potentially do, but then
we rehearsed it in our front room as well, because we couldn't even get into the practice room, so we rehearsed it in our front room.
It's a bit smaller than the Bloodstock stage.
We took it to this huge stage, and we hadn't accounted for the timing it takes to get from like behind the stage all the way around and onto the front of the stage. Because when we were doing it, we were just running from the kitchen, and everything was like, this is timed perfectly. And then on the night, it was
there were times where there was someone being pushed across the stage on a wheelchair and just let go, like just carry on.
Threw Gail so I could get to a microphone. And I was like pushing her on a wheelchair, and I just went, this is fun. I need to start singing in a second. So I just went.
It was like a proper carry on Bloodstock.
Backstage looked absolutely hilarious. You were doing I'm there thinking, I've got a bit of a nice amble for me costume change here. I'm legging it, throwing robes over my shoulder. Everyone who was watching it behind must have thought, what the hell is happening here? Legging it round with me kecks down my ankles.
And we kind of took that philosophy to every single gig last year because
We're great, honestly.
You're really selling us.
No. The thing is, it's all well and good when you're one of these massive bands and you take the stage show, because you can premeditate the size of the stage and the scale and whatever. And what we pride ourselves about is the fact that the tour took us to a multitude of different scales and different venues and whatever that range from the Griffin, which is an incredible pub or club in Bristol, which was quite snug, but then being able to take it to bigger festivals as well and still be able to pull off the whole stage show, bring on, all of our, massive dummies and massive puppets and whatever, and make sure, and what we do is we try to make sure that we don't shortchange the people that come, so they'll see exactly the same stage show. You might look a little bit different in regards to where it's all set up, but we don't hold back. But actually, when the smaller the stage, the more of a challenge it is for us to actually to pull it off. Really,
so you took that stage set as well to London, didn't you? With your supporter Cradle of Filth, which looked amazing.
Yeah, we blagged that big style.
They wanted everything
completely and utterly prepared for
it. It was health and safety.
They wanted certification for all of our stuff and everything.
So fire,
we brought it in anyway, and then.
Yeah, fire. Do you want to fire?
I just flagged it saying, yeah, we had you that were going, oh, we can't put our stuff up, can we? I was like, shut up. And then when you came over to ask, I was like, yeah, it's all done. And I flagged it, it's all this B1 rated, whatever.
Literally came over, took a lighter to a bit of our set, just went, yeah, that's not going to burn, and off he went, and that was
good job it didn't.
So if you need any information, it is fire accredited, so you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, it's been tested by
professionals.
Guys at the Roundhouse with a lighter. That is quality.
Just for Pentre Fest, to give him a little bit of a plug, we have an electrician that works at the pub. He will ask for pat testing. So, Graham, don't worry.
That's my deal. We're all good.
Chainsaw.
It's all right, we can bring the whole set, but you guys can't use your amps or your pedals.
Yeah, we can do a mean a cappella.
So then after that as well, you did the what was almost a homecoming set in Manchester.
Yeah.
Which I always call the venue the Hop and Grape because I'm old, but it's the Academy 3.
That was the actual.
I was lucky enough to be there. Brought my daughter. And we had an absolute ball, it was a brilliant set show.
Well, that was the official launch. So it was 18 months after we actually, something like 15 to 18 months after we officially launched the album.
I can't remember how many times it had to get rescheduled.
Twice had to be rescheduled, but that was the official launch. So that was really the first time that we performed the whole set.
Everything,
and we'd brought every single song. We had the threads running through it, so that was the night, and it was and I think that for me that was more nerve-wracking than the rest of the so-called bigger gigs. That was, I think it's always a little bit more scary when it's there for your own right, when people always turn up for like Bloodstock and Cradle of Filth, and whether we were there or not, it would have been chocker. It wouldn't have been as good, but it would have been a chocker. But with that, because it was our own right, it was really our first gig that we'd ever sold tickets for ourselves as well. And we packed
for this album. We hadn't played our own gigs since the first album, had we? And that was a couple of years prior. So we'd had no idea if we had a following or not following, because we knew online that we had a lot of reception for our album, but we didn't know.
And I think people are still quite scared about going out as well. There was still queries about whether we're going into a 200th lockdown or not, and so like days before, we were still quite nervous about whether people would be willing to go out and things like that. So I think one of the biggest thrills for me was we were all setting up and we were waiting for the doors to open, and so I nipped out and we were it's if you know the place, it's the top of the academy, like top of the stairs, and people in our t-shirts are queued all the way down the spiral staircase, and there's hundreds of people. It's like one of those amazing kind of memories that I've got, where it's like, oh my god, this is going to be a good night. Luckily,
you actually clashed with the suite as well that night, and still managed to you know, I don't know whether it was sold out, but it was pretty damn close. Like, you know.
Yeah, it was actually. It was very close to it, and I think it was sold out from our perspective, but there were some people that couldn't make it because of COVID, and you know they couldn't get out and things like that. So it was amazing. Yeah, it really was. I couldn't put the same kind of mullet as the suite, but I tried.
I haven't been able to do that for years.
Let's make it happen. Full-blown hair metal. The next album will really go for it.
So, I mean, you've been going for what? I don't know whether it's been 10 years or more, but
it's
about 10 years.
About 10 years.
2020. This year is the 10th anniversary of Ward 16.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was around, we're not quite there yet. I think it was around June or something.
Yeah,
like that.
2013.
Was it 2013 you guys started?
Yeah.
Because I think, was it Psychoberry that put the original band together?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what was the original lineup?
It was me. We had Dale on guitar. He later left to join the army, and then we had Martin on keyboards, who's the keyboardist that was on the first album, and he also did the keys on the second album as well.
So from then, have you kept the kind of original concept the same, or is it like changed out of what you all originally dreamt up?
No, the concept was kind of in my head from the beginning about the female serial killer. I think the only bit that evolved was the Ward 16 element of it, because it was going to be a story about a psychopath, and basically the story that is the first album, but it was never at that point told from the perspective of her being on the ward and speaking to a psychiatrist and going back in time. So the initial idea was just to have the story. And then
where did the concept come from? Because like 10 years ago, especially in the metal genre, we were all obsessed with pirates and Vikings, and then you guys come along with something completely different, which really taps into what, you know, metalheads really love.
Yeah, well, it came from a series of things. I'd watched Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare on VHS, and I remember watching that thinking, wow, why aren't more bands doing this kind of thing? And then it's also because I was in my first band and they kicked me and the drummer out for not being good enough, and it just really knocked my confidence, and I didn't feel like I could come back as myself. I wanted something to hide behind. And I'd read about how Slash used to hide behind his hair and put his hat on. And Alice Cooper would put the makeup on things, and you hear about all sorts of stories. And I wanted that for myself when I came out. I don't think I would have had the confidence to just come out as me again. So it kind of helped build Psychoberry from the whole story, really. So it's glad it happened in the end. But
yeah, the vision of the band's changed a lot as well. You know, I think we've evolved the show a lot in terms of, I think at the beginning the band as a whole weren't necessarily signed on to what the concept was about. So there'd be, certainly at the beginning when I first joined in 2015, there was not a lot, there wasn't a lot of theatrics running through it. There were little novelty elements of each song, but it didn't necessarily have the context behind it of what was happening.
There was a lot of, like, some people wanted to do the theatrics, other people didn't. And Rico that we've got now actually came on board as an actor in the very beginning. And because we did one show and loads of things went wrong with the show, that wasn't the acting, but they blamed the acting for it. And it was like, we can't have all this acting going on. It's making us mess our instruments or something.
Did they talk for more than 30 seconds? but also from a perspective of how the looks as well, that's evolved as well. At the beginning, we all dressed up completely different. You know, I wore a mask for a while, and it was almost like a fancy dress kind of. There's no kind of cohesion between the band, and then it took us it took us a few gigs just to start finding out who we were and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it, and actually how to integrate the acting and theatrics more into the show. rather than it just being someone running around with a knife and blood and fake blood and stuff like that. It was important that it tied into the show. So obviously for every gig that we played, we'd get comments from people, and we'd reflect on it and go, okay, how can, and we still do it to this point, to be honest. And it's something that we're always evolving and blagging, because it's something that's self-made, and it's something that we're learning about all the time. And we know it's not a perfect science, but that's the fun of life.
We're taking it seriously sometimes.
Yeah.
I think someone commented recently, because we obviously don't have any road crew. We're setting it up ourselves, and we got someone wrote in a review or something that they didn't like the fact that they could see us all before we actually come on the stage.
Yeah,
so the next gig, we all tried to do it in these
boiler suits
with masks on,
masks,
and we were like
with no peripheral vision.
We couldn't see a thing. It was absolutely.
But I think what's important is that the show is through the eyes of the viewer, you know, and the gig goer. And I think it's very important to reflect on that, because at the end of the day, they're the important people that were there to kind of entertain. And if there's anything that, and any little comments like that can actually enhance the show and further the level of believability of what we're trying to do, and make it a better and like a better performance. Because, you know, at the end of the day, the way that we perform our music's actually spot on and perfect every single time. So it is just that we need to concentrate on.
And other funny jokes by von Stottenstein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we're not. Well, I think we're not too up our own arse. I think a lot of it's tongue in cheek, and a lot of it we're not up our own arses to not put any kind of credence into what comments we get as well. You know, it's. You know, we want to bring the best show that we can potentially do, and where we are now is due to a ton of shows, and a ton of shows with comments from people that have said one thing or another, and we've ditched, you know, negative. We've ditched things that didn't work, and we've listened to some people and changed it, and we've reflected ourselves in regards to how we thought gigs went and things like that. So. It's at this moment in time, we are where we are because the people that and the gigs that we've played.
Brilliant. So you mentioned then about the stage show and Alice Cooper and things like that. So who are your other influences when it comes not just with the stage show, but to the music you play?
The Maiden is my big, I think, childhood wise, it was my big influence. Maiden and Pink Floyd. And I think watching, and the music's one thing, but I always needed to be captured by the visuals, the context of the music. So I remember vividly watching Live After Death. It was the first real kind of visual representation of what a gig was, which opened my eyes to say this is not just people playing music, but there was something more to it, and the importance of the pyro and the importance of like the theatrical elements of it, although it's not overdone with theatrics like Alice Cooper is. There's major elements in it. And Pink Floyd, The Wall, not so much from a perspective of that, but when Roger Waters did his Wall, you know, the Wall with concerts, I think with Berlin, when they built up the wall. Things like that, you know, where it's like there's almost like a visual representation of the music that's portraying. Has always gripped me more than anything else. I'm always been into like a probably concept type band.
I just kind of grew up listening to things like Guns N' Roses, but then I was also obsessed with Pink, and I like the emotion in her voice, so I took that. But I've always liked all sorts of genres of music. I don't feel like I've particularly taken one, like a few things as my influence. I think I just hear little elements I like, because I've always been like, when you listen to classical music and it's just a complete progressive kind of composition that like the music tells the story. I think we even drag elements of that into it in places. So yeah.
Sponge. I played in covers bands before being in the band as well, so I had to play Pink, funny enough, Pink and Madonna and ska and things like that. So although they weren't music that I necessarily listened to at home, it enabled me to kind of appreciate it a lot more than what I would have. So so I was able to bring that into what we do as well.
My kind of influence, I would like to say Tool.
There it is.
But honestly, the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, when I'm jamming, I tend to be listening to a lot of drum and bass, and it's just like creating that really low end, like, just feeling. Like, I don't really listen to the notes that are played as long as it makes me feel.
That's just like a practice, huh?
Well, no, it's like bass. Like, well, I was very new to playing bass when I joined the band, and it's been a bit of a journey throughout joining the band and having to learn the instrument pretty much. But yeah, I'd like to say that I am influenced by, a lot of my favorite bands, but most of it comes from, I think, a lot of drum and bass, like my teenage years of my brother being a DJ and stuff like that, and just the feeling that it gives me. It's like very adrenaline filled.
Yeah, I didn't want to say, but I used to be a massive chav too.
You're losing all of our metal cred here, guys. We're losing it completely.
Well, look, I've just spent a lot of money on a pink ticket for my daughter.
Pink's great.
I honestly, I don't get it myself. I don't see what people see in it. It's not my thing.
Great.
I'm a massive Iron Maiden fan. But
are you going to go with her?
Each to their own. I'm not going to judge us. So obviously, Rico, I don't know if you have much influence on the music they play, but obviously with your acting and what you do.
Oh yeah.
What's your influences?
He is the leader of the party bus.
Yes, I'm the king DJ of the party bus. When I'm allowed near the DJ in the bus, it's great. Everybody loves the music that I put on, whether they like it or not. You've somewhere, I believe, on our social media, we do have a video of the one and only time I was in charge of the music in the van when Dr. von Stottenstein was in the van, and you could see the light dying in his eyes. It was beautiful. But no,
how many times have we listened to Electric Callboy?
Many times. I do love me a bit of Electric Callboy.
Well, Electric Callboy is one of the most requested tracks that I have when I run my rock night. So
it started off as me just pestering everybody, but after a while they realised they quite liked it. But no, in that
I quite like. I like the mix of dance and the metal, because I like that early Prodigy was something that was really big when I was growing up. So I love that. And then there's a couple of quite. Who was it? There's a band called Gamma Ray.
Yes.
I love Kai Hansen.
Because I was a massive, like, kind of Maiden and Halloween. And then Kai Hansen left and joined and created his band Gamma Ray. And they covered the song called Gamma, funny enough, Gamma Ray. And I had that kind of techno, almost like Mortal Kombat kind of dance element of it. And I thought they worked really well together. And I think, there's a couple of songs on our first album that were kind of like the bit of a mix of electro and metal and things like that. So it's good. And so I know there's certainly a crowd out there that like that kind of stuff.
Well, I think
it's one of the things that I kind of
the upbeat element tends to encourage your circus pits, I've noticed.
Yes.
So I've been in a couple over the years, and they're always exciting places to be. Who was it who came up with the idea of the circus pit?
It came about when we played the Alma in Bolton. They just started doing it, didn't they? The first ever time.
Yeah.
And then
because
why did it get named? There's something to do with Alex.
Initially, we'd Jordan that part of the toy box. The first concept was that we'd all kind of go like broken toys, and we'd all go limp, and she'd go around with a big
Well,
key
we
at the
did
back,
that.
and she'd wind us back up. So the faster the track goes, the quicker she's winding us up. But then there's a couple of times, I think it was in the album, wasn't it, when people started just doing the can and stuff like that, and then our previous guitarist Alex, he just said the word circus pit, didn't he? And it just stuck. It's like, oh yeah, that's an ace. That.
Well, it might disappoint you a little bit, but at your show in Manchester, my girlfriend Kelly decided she would get everybody to do the Macarena during that.
Oh, right.
So yeah,
It's understandable. It's perfectly
she
understandable.
reckons you can Macarena to
That is
absolutely anything.
Well, they were we played Cardiff and Fuel, and there's a video of this
Yes.
bunch of idiots doing the Macarena to Rammstein.
It fits perfectly. Rammstein fits absolutely perfectly. It's one of my sort of little
Maybe we
things
need
that I've
to
always
do
had.
the Circus Pit Macarena at Pentre Fest. So this is the first ever. Let's make history, and let's evolve again. Going back to what we were saying before, let's evolve the Circus Pit. So Pentre Fest is going to be the first ever world premiere of the Circus Pit Macarena, and you guys are all invited to it.
So we have to do the legs and the arms as well.
Yeah.
Kicking the legs and the arms going.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
It's gonna have to be like a dance.
As you brought up Pentre Fest, I'm going to try ask this question again. 2018, last time you played, and you're the first band that we've actually invited back to headline. So we think that's a bit special. Can you tell us what your memories are from that gig?
I remember in Red Rum.
Red Rum headline bit. Yeah.
Damn words that have the R in the first.
Red One. I've never heard of Red One.
Red One. Willie Swadwick.
Got the postage.
There you
go.
I can remember. Was it I think we were playing on a Friday night, so we'd come straight from work. And I remember you being ill because you were like you had to sleep on the couch most of the night at the side of the venue.
No, the only time I slept on the couch was when I was pregnant.
No, you were ill. You weren't very well.
I remember she wasn't well on the night of the Pentre Fest gig.
But I still turned up anyway.
You still turned up. You still did an amazing job. And you still scared the bar staff when they could all smell something burning.
Yeah.
Why does it smell of petrol? What's going on in the back room?
Just you wait. You ain't seen nothing yet. But I don't know. It was nice for me because certainly from a perspective of where the location of the venue is, it's close to where I grew up. And I've been in Lancashire for 15 years, and we do a lot of tours and we go all over the place, but we don't go, or we haven't been to the likes of Liverpool and certainly North Wales very much. So, but but Liverpool is just notoriously hard to I don't know. We played a few times and there's nothing there. But then it was good to just go, especially to Pentre Fest and the first time, because we were quite new to everything as well, and we were still learning, and we were still trying to build something, and it's one of those little for communities there that you like to try to get involved with, because everybody is signed into it and bought into it and enthusiastic, and everyone's there for the right reason, and it's not one of those big what's the word it's not a corporatized kind of thing. It's people are there because they want to be there, and and there's a great culture there, and it's something that and there's a few things we try to kind of get in on like that, because we just want to be part of that community, because that's what's quite important. But yeah, it was one of those nights where we had to blag quite a bit, because back then we didn't have any of the props that we made. So I know the electric chair was still a bar stool and stuff like that. Have you got a bar stool that looks like an electric chair and stuff? And then quite close to after that, we started building all our props and making sure that we were turning up with things that actually looked like electric chairs and stuff like that. I'm not just trying to make people make believe, if you know what I mean. So you're just about to watch our latest video, and it's also it gives you a good representation of what we are live. This is Imago, and it's pieced together all the footage from Bloodstock 2021, and also our live our first
Album launch.
the album launch that was in Manchester Academy that we talked about just before. Enjoy.
You wanna know why I'm this way?
the only other thing I particularly want you to talk about now is going to be the new album. So what can we expect? Is it going to have any strange twists, anything different, or so just tell us about what's gone into making it, where you're going with it.
I think at the moment it's going to be roughly about 12 tracks of silence. That's where we're up to.
That's this is the sound, the sound of lockdown.
But it'll still be better than anything Metallica have done recently, yeah?
Oh, shots fired. Accurate, but shots fired.
So the main influence is just John Williams.
Yeah. Just
3 minutes silence. Or
Mott the Hoople. Who else? Cramps. Necrosadistic Goat Torture. Who else are our influences for this album?
No, but in all seriousness, it's going to bridge the gap between the two albums that are there now. We've got Psychoberry manipulating a man into killing for her own twisted entertainment. And that's what the interviewer was asking about at that point. And then he goes back and says, okay, so why are you this way? And we find out about childhood. So then we're going to bridge the gap between childhood to when she gets to.
Yeah, the albums aren't necessarily in chronological order. It's more.
It's following the timeline of the
interviews. So
psychiatrist interviews.
So it's really.
Are you Star Wars fans?
Yeah. Well,
I've never watched it. He tried to make me watch one of them, and I fell asleep. So I can still say I've never watched Star Wars.
It's more Tarantino timeline. To be honest, it's all over the place. To be honest, there's like four different timelines going through the album.
I am going to kill Bill.
Yes. So yeah, it is more like Kill Bill in terms of how the three, like album one isn't the very beginning of the story.
It's not quite as confusing as The Witcher though. I still can't. I have no idea what's happening in that.
That was confusing. I watched the first series. I ain't even bothering with the rest of them.
I read the books and I was sitting there like, wait a minute, what's going on now? I'm sitting there, I'm confused now.
It looks good to us.
So have you actually got any plans to go down the Rob Zombie route and then start like integrating all your songs into an actual movie?
Well,
we'd like to do stuff like that. You just don't have any money.
Yeah, it's like
I've always wanted someone to like just go. I like that story. I'm going to make a movie out of that, and I'm going to spend my money on it. But nobody's approached us on it.
I reckon there's a survival horror game in this story. There is.
You keep saying that, and we keep asking you to do it, and then
I can't do video games. The ideas are there, but I can't do coding. Zeros and ones are hard, man.
You write it all out.
You need to talk to Footprints and the
I think that's an argument left for band practice, isn't it?
Well, we got quite a few ideas. We've started doing demos. We've
started sending me. I've started putting them in the bin.
Yeah. So I've gone. Everybody, listen to this riff. Oh, it's really good, Dave. In the bin. But
that's going right up on the fridge.
Right next to my daughter's handprint.
It's like I've literally written like 6 songs worth. I looked at them and went, nah, she ain't gonna like them, and I've jettisoned them. I've not even submitted them.
They're probably really good as well, and I probably like them. Oh well.
I'll dig them out my bin.
I hate everything. As soon as I've written anything, like I'll work ages developing stuff, and then I'll just go, no, I don't like that. Let's spin it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you just listen to something too much, and then you start to hate it. So,
that's the whole thing with being an artist.
Yeah.
You just repeat yourself until you hate your own work.
I used to get really attached to like literally everything, and then I thought, well, the mentality is that we shouldn't keep anything if it's okay. We should only keep something if it's like really good. So if you chuck out 90% of your stuff, that's how you get a good album.
When I did theatre at university, that was one of the first things we got taught, was a case of you can write something, you can think it's really good. If you bring it to the rest of your cast and they don't like it, you're gonna have to let it go. You can cling to it long enough, but you can't be super precious about it.
So is this like a democratic process, or do you just bring it to Kerry and she throws it away?
Yes. I said that too quickly, didn't I?
It's my idea. I just hand the sheets out and say, play this.
Just play this.
Do as you're told.
Just sends recordings out and just goes, "This is the album. Play this."
Yeah, pretend that you
I try not
pretend
to. If
this.
it's got to that point, then that's when I've gone, fine, I'm just going to do this myself.
Pretend this is you playing for a minute.
Yeah.
We don't even play live.
I can't
It's all
record the
backing
mix.
track. We don't play at all.
We've had issues with that in the past, so be careful.
Really?
It was
Not
great
with
with
you
the
guys.
last album because I was on maternity leave when we wrote it. So David would disappear off to work and he'd come home and I'd be like, I just changed your guitar part here. I'd just chop it and then edge something in that I badly recorded myself.
No, you just edited it a little bit. Only on the crapper songs that you like, not on the good ones that I did.
So that's a question, isn't it? Which is your favourite song off the first two albums?
I'm going to pick one off both. Oh, jeez, guys.
I've got a couple that
You're not allowed a couple, he said.
only just one.
Oh, there you
One
go.
of
Just
each.
whatever you want.
So on the first one, "Cried the Siren," that was the first song that I'd ever written, and really developed from start to finish. And it tends to be the song that we play live, that when we start playing it, it's the point in the gig where I start enjoying myself a little bit. Because before that, it's usually quite nerve-wracking and quite nervous. And then that's the song that I can kind of close my eyes and really just go away with. The newer album, it's a mix between the Cradle song and Burn a Witch and Shadows for different reasons. I think Burn a Witch was a song that I'd been kind of messing around and developing for about 3 or 4 years. So it was great to actually, and it was the one song that I was nervous about getting chucked in the bin by certain people because it was different than what had been done before. Shadows, because it's just, I can just close my eyes and just play as loud and as hot and break strings and make my hands bleed playing at the end because it's that type of song. And then Cradle song, I think, because my daughter was crying at the beginning of it, but also there's a point where I'm playing a guitar solo at the very end and I just hit this perfect note. Perfect. It's the best note that I've ever played on any album. And that's it. It's like 4 minutes. I think it's 4 minutes 45. No, it's not, because it's 8 minutes. It's something like 6 minutes 35 or something like that. It's just the perfect bluesy, bendy notes. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Oh, he's actually going to get his guitar.
You hear that note there? That one? That is the Cradle song now. Beautiful now. Snap. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, he's got it.
You did it wrong, mate. You said that this guitar's got so many notes.
This guitar has so many notes. Do you want me to show you one? Here's one.
There is only one note that matters. That is the note.
Well, quite frankly, I'm already erect.
It wasn't here that played it. It was definitely me.
I was wondering why you were so happy at the end of that song.
I didn't play any guitar.
Can I throw in a controversial choice from the first album? You know what I'm like. It's The Flight. I adore The Flight.
I thought you were going to say Run for Your Lives.
I was going to say Crystal Ball.
Crystal Ball, yeah.
Bringing Crystal Ball. Now The Flight is just because I've music genres all over the place, but I grew up as like a proper dirty industrial kid with like Combi Christ and Cyclone 9, and that was my kind of thing. So that proper like almost like trancey sort of sound to it is like I want to pit and also throw shapes like those goth kids under the bridge. It's love it. But I also think that because when I obviously started as a fan, Ward 16, the song off the first album, was the first song that I listened to that made me go, oh yeah, this is something. It's like the kind of thing that causes structural damage to the back of your neck by the end of it because you're just
Yeah, yeah.
going. It's got that real good solid chug, and that's it feels good. Love it.
Go on.
And new
Not been on
album.
the second album yet, has it?
The second
Oh.
album. I really like Broken Toys. It's really wild. It's really fun. There's a lot of giddiness to it. It's got the same kind of. I feel like it's got the same kind of energy as Toy Box, but with more aggression, which I
It's
really
meant to
like.
be, but that was the point of it.
Yeah,
like,
it links
based on
in.
the same structure.
Yeah,
because it's the prequel stroke sequel of that song.
Yeah, it's just got a lot more. It's got more of an aggressive side to it. It feels. I mean, I don't know if we're a band that people pit to, but that's like in my head. That's a mosh pit song.
Is it?
It is. Broken Toys is a mosh pit song. I could open that bad boy up. Get me in there during Broken Toys. I'll make everyone move.
I'm old. I don't pit. I just stand at the back with my arms folded.
His arms folded. Nods approvingly when somebody does a really good bluesy note that lasts for 4 minutes.
See, I try that until I get to like fourth beer, and then I've just got to kind of like get involved.
I literally go to gigs going, no. I mean, we went when it was Bloodstock last year when it was bakingly hot, and when Cattle Decapitation were playing, I was like, don't even think about it. By the end of it, I was towel soaked in water, just wandering back to my tent. Oh, everything hurts.
I was similar with Exodus. It was like, don't behave yourself. I'm 45 years old, man. I'm too old for this shit. But you know what?
You're a kid.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Right, go on, James.
Well, firstly, I was going to say that's rookie talk. I was in the pit for All Consumed when we played Preston. So,
If you listen, you'll hear everybody being really impressed. I mean, what do you want?
My favourite song
was the rest of us were getting the gig ready.
Yeah, we were setting up. We were sorting our stage set, and he was like, "Woo!"
I was having fun.
You're in a band. You're not meant to have fun.
That's why the album's not getting done.
Because of
No,
Wolfie
the
having
album's not getting
fun.
done because I can't record.
Children, play nice.
We'll hold him to that as soon as I give him. I've only just sorted the PC out now, so we give you the login, and now he's going to write loads of stuff.
Like tomorrow on 3 songs on my desk. Or imagine your gun, mate.
Because surely you've been practicing, even though you can't record, you've been practicing.
Yeah, you'll be
Surely.
on take now. You might practice you'll have been able to do.
Nailed.
Well.
Anyway, what's your favourite song?
So my favourite song off the first album is actually The Art of Manipulation. Not a very well received song, but it's just that song that gives me a certain feel, and it's kind of proggy, but I don't know. It just gives me a certain feel, and I just love it. Off the second album, I'm going to say a Cradle song because it's
45. 6 minutes 45. That's what it's all about.
No,
No, that's you saying. If that's why it's his favourite as well. 6 minutes 45.
Because he likes listening to Doctor's beautiful note.
Yeah,
the one.
completely. I completely noticed that one note that he's on about. I completely noticed.
You could the next album's just going to be a succession of that bend played over and over again.
Every so often, just really quietly in the background, you hear Dr. Von Stonstein going, "Can you hear it?"
Yeah.
It's good,
he's just
isn't
going to
it?
walk out on stage and drown. And
Good, that isn't it?
That's me done. See
It's
it.
just,
Hands are huge.
oh my God.
number 1
Like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's
from the first album, I shall choose Adrenochromania because I just like it's got a really good horror feel to it and build up, and I think that's one of the songs that really drives the story and gets the right emotion across. I think a lot of the songs on the first album don't really get the right emotion for the lyrics across because a lot of it we kind of crammed lyrics into music that was already there. Second album, Imago is always going to be one of my favorites because I just like the electro element to it, and I really like the lyrics for that song.
I had a similar thing to what I was saying about with when I said listen towards 16, thought, oh, this is a thing. The first time I heard Imago was just after the bridge when it kicks back in. I actually messaged it to one of my friends and I said, it's the kind of that bit I vividly remember saying, it's like makes you want to climb a mountain and just punch God in the face. It's got that kind of get up and move kind of thing. And yeah, I love it.
Oh, now
I
you've
like
got
the
to try and
music
work that
we do.
into your stage show of you climbing up a mountain and punching God in the face. 'Cause I can picture that now.
Oh, we've got to do that. We've got to do that. So we're doing Circus Pit Macarena, and now we've got to
bring the whole
get
mountain,
a mountain on stage and
full scale.
and hit God. In the face.
Does anybody have Alanis Morissette's number?
Well,
Now that's
listen,
a
we've got plenty
niche
of mountains
joke.
in North Wales, but we can't bring you Alanis Morissette. So.
Yeah.
We'll take you to a mountain on the Friday morning,
Yeah, good, Ben Nevis.
record it, and we'll stick a projector on the show.
No, that's not good enough. We're just going to
Yeah.
drag all your
We'll go
punters
to
out to the
Snowdon,
mountain.
Yeah.
Come with us. Come with us. We're going somewhere. You can lure them by bending your note.
Yeah. Yeah, all the way
They're
up
all
like
following
that.
along like
Prime
zombies.
time.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
It'll be like in the video for Bewitched by Candlemass. We're all going to be there following along like this as you're bending away.
Oh,
Take your word for it.
Right. Anyway,
So-
we can't sit with a Metal to the Masses winner and not talk about the Metal to the Masses competition, seeing as we run Metal to the Masses North Wales. Obviously, 2017, you guys won Metal to the Masses.
Yes.
How do you feel the process works for you guys as a band, and how do you feel it's helped you in the long run?
We loved it.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time that we did it, and the first time that we did it, we got really seriously into like, you know, like, oh, you threw this round, we were all about the winning, and then when you don't win, it's like, oh my god, so you're mortified or whatever. And then after that, we just went in. We were like, how many like we've networked with all these bands whilst we've done this. We've gained all these gigs off the back of it. Like we haven't won the thing, but and we've made so many friends. So why were we so focused on the winning? So that next time we went into it, we weren't focused on that. We were like, we just want to go in there again and network with people and
we had the blasted me the year that we won it, and even in the final, we blew the PA because we always seem to blow up the PA at a sanctuary in Burnley. So the midway through our set, we blew the PA. So we did a sing song and stuff like that because we just didn't take it. We didn't take it uber seriously.
We couldn't do it, because the mics and everything are gone. The only thing that was still working was your guitar amps, weren't it? So you just started playing. Yeah,
tribute by whatchamacallit.
Is that what you played?
And 500 Miles by the Proclaimers, and got everyone singing along. And I actually love the. We've been in a few kind of battle of the bands and stuff like that, and there's some that are just horrendous and done for the wrong reason. And the thing with Metal to the Masses is it feels like as a community we were really fortunate where we were, especially in like the scene that we were in. Like it was like the camaraderie and like the community within the bands are helping each other out and lending each other guitars in the same night and stuff like that, you know, and just helping each other out. And I think that kind of thing gets lost sometimes. I think once you stop trying to be, when you put more attention on trying to stand on people's shoulders to get to the next level rather than actually doing it organically, I think that can be the really detrimental, you know. And I think that some like competitions focus on that more. Whereas Metal to Masses never seem to have been like that. I think we were quite lucky, to be honest, because we were in quite a small. We didn't, because we're very much different type of music, aren't we, to the bands that we had expected. So we thought, because there was a few thrash bands and stuff like that, these guys are going to win it because these are like
what Bloodstock are looking for.
This is what Bloodstock are looking for. But then it wasn't. And then you get to Bloodstock, and then everyone's looking after you, and they make you like the new Blood stage. They make you feel like you're absolutely immortal. and just treat it in the nicest way by the nicest people. And then obviously then the people in Bloodstock itself are the nicest people, you know, and it just feels incredible to be part of, you know. And I think it was one of those turning points for us, because once we'd won it and once we'd actually been on stage, half of the band identified that this is where they needed to be and where they could move on to or continue to progress from, and half the band thought that that was as much as they needed, and they left about 2 or 3 months later. And from following Bloodstock, you know, like half the band split up more or less. It was just me and Psychoberry left after that, because it was like we really realized, and we really realized how much we wanted it and how bigger we could get in terms of scale of the show. Whereas
it's funny because we know a few bands that are a similar sort of thing, that they come from a development that they kind of get to that point, they get over that hurdle of reaching a major UK festival, and then you either decide that you want to go on and make it bigger, which you guys have done a brilliant job of, or it kind of disappears. We've had who's no longer a band from North Wales. They sort of won the competition and then that was it. But the others that have won have they've gone on to do bigger and better shows.
Because we spent on the first time we were there, and it was the first time I'd ever played a festival, like a major festival, or first time I'd ever actually been to one as well as just a punter. We spent the first 3 days, because we played Saturday morning, we got there Thursday. We spent the first 3 days just meeting people, talking to people, sticking pictures, you know, photos and stickers in the toilets and stuff like. Because
I remember that year, because you couldn't go anywhere without finding a Ward 16 flyer stuck on a urinal. Or
we just had to make.
I was like, let's get the toilets. I was like, every single person here has to have.
It's there to be, you know, in want of a better word, it's there to be exploited, you know, and too many people go there and just go and rest on the laurels, and it's like, now you've got to, then this is your big chance to move up. And
we had those wristbands too, didn't we? We went and we've gone. It was David's idea. We got like hospital wristbands, and we printed the set time on them, and there was a little QR code that took you to all the socials and things. And we were meeting people and talking to them, and after we were talking to them, we stuck one of these wristbands on their hands, and there was a few people that said they woke up the next morning and they had this wristband on their hand and they had no idea how it had got there, but they saw the time and they just decided to go to the set.
It was packed though as well. It was brilliant.
It was incredible.
It definitely worked.
We were really nervous because it was 10:30 in the morning, so we didn't think anyone would turn up.
That's like one of the best things I've ever seen, because we were on first. They had to open the barrier, and when they did, people started running like it was a stampede. Because we'd also said that the first 100 got like a free shot and some crappy stickers and stuff, and everybody wanted them for some reason.
I remember standing at the string. I was standing at that thing. I was one of the first guys there. I was raring to go. I was away.
So I firmly believe we owe so much to Metal to the Masses, not only from a perspective of where we are now and the experience that we've had since, but I think it's being able to be humble and to be able to communicate with promoters and other bands and things like that. That, you know, that kind of networking that I think you just really need to exploit and take advantage of, because you don't get that anywhere else. And you know, we met all of our good friends and bands and stuff like that. We met them through Metal to the Masses, and we've toured with them, we've gigged with them, and you know, we still see them 4 or 5 years on. And it's still, you know, you still talk about those nights and stuff like that, and it's always there. I think it's just a wonderful kind of opportunity for bands, really, because the goal of it is broad and as ambitious as you let it be.
Yeah. Sound. Have you got any advice for bands that have played a few times and not got as far as they'd like, or you know, any advice for up and coming bands in general, really.
I personally take notice of what other bands do. So if we don't aren't successful doing something for any reason, I look at, okay, so what could we have done better ourselves from what's in our power to do it? What have these other bands done? So observe them, watch what they do on, in press, and what they do on stage, how they act, how they talk to people. I was quite reactive back in. I'm quite reactive and jealous of different bands for getting to certain places and stuff like that. But I'd be quite over precious about the band, so I'd quite get, and then you watch people and you go, okay, you have to be a bit more, you've got to be more humble, you've got to communicate better, you've got to put yourself out there more, you've got to be more inclusive and things like that. So you just reach for it, just talk. The people that you play music for, the most important people on earth, for getting where you want to go. So you shouldn't forget them. Do what you can to communicate with them, to listen to what they say, and make, and everything that you do with them in mind.
I think we're still learning, aren't we, now that in the past we've put so much focus on trying to get noticed by promoters or trying to get noticed by labels and big people in industry, and not necessarily focusing on the fans. But the fans are the people that have got you there. The fans are the people you're buying your music, are the ones that really invest in you. You don't need to follow these big people. Yeah. You need to
being signed. We've been signed isn't the be all or end all of it.
It's not even
anymore.
Important at all.
It's not anymore.
They can't do anything.
We've been signed a couple of times, and we were always aiming for that golden goose, and is that even a thing? The golden goose, is it? We were always chasing that kind of, this is it, and we've always been either ripped off, let down, or underwhelmed by it. And it gets to the point where you go, actually, everything that we need is within our own hands. And the moment that you actually realize that you've got something, concentrate on delivering something that's potentially different than somebody else. So don't just go and play exactly what everyone else is doing. Try to think of a way to play your music and have an edge to it, have something that's different than what other people do it with passion, do it with honesty and integrity.
And pay for good recordings. You can't get anywhere with shoddy bedroom recordings.
The outcome is reflective of what the input. So if you're going to pay a ton of money to record your music, pay the same ton of money to promote it, and then do it right. Because there's no point spending all your money on the labour of your love and what's in your soul if then you're just going to half-arse it, promoting it afterwards.
I do just want to add a very quick addendum to that, just to clarify. Don't listen to them entirely. If a record label does want to throw thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds at us for a stage show, we're not going to go, no, we're all right where we are, thanks. Give me all the money to make a big elaborate stage show with fire and mountains.
I'm saying no. I just want to come along and prove it.
You just know how dangerous I'd get with that much money. It'd be an absolute nightmare.
So I think we've basically covered pretty much everything we wanted to. There is just something else. It's slightly away from the band, but you do a bit of charity work, obviously. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
What?
What
have I done? Who's done what?
Charity?
The charity work you're doing. You're doing a boxing match or something, or?
Oh, I've done it now. A lot.
Oh, you've done it,
didn't you?
Beat me up. No, I decided to do an 8-week training program. I did an 8-week training program, so I went from never having boxed in my life to having to do this 2-week intense training. It was like army training. They were like throwing heavy balls at you and stuff. And if you like dropped them, you had to do 10 press ups and things like that. Unless you were running around, and then there was loads of cardio involved, and then you got to sparring eventually, and then the first time you ever properly fought someone was in the boxing ring at the match.
We were raising money for Pulmonary Hypertension Association, which is the charity that looks after me because I've got a dodgy heart and lungs. So I was in 2013, I was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension, which is a progressive and very rare lung disease that is, well, there's about 7,000 people in this country who have got it, and a lot, well, almost 99.999% of people who've got it are more unlucky than me, because I'm okay, you know, I'm quite fit and stuff like that, but they're not as lucky as me. So a lot of the money that we've you know, she raised, you know, almost £1,000 for it, and I've done some runs and stuff like that. It's aimed to not only raise some information and awareness for the disease itself and what the great charity does, but it also provides a lot of reassurance and a lot of care and money and research for people who are less fortunate than me at this moment in time.
Okay, well, if you want to bring your information about that charity, flyers, and you want to bring some collection buckets and things like that, feel free to bring them down. We do something which we call a Jägermeister game. I don't know if you remember it, where we basically put a bottle of Jägermeister on the floor. We get people to throw pound coins at it. The one who gets the closest to it wins the bottle of Jägermeister. The rest of it we donate to charity. So we'll do it this year on the Friday night, and whatever we raise, we'll give to you.
Oh,
for
nice
your
one!
charity.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
okay, is there anything else you guys would like to add? And because then we'll wrap it up.
Only really that this is going to be our first show. Because we're writing a new album, we're only playing quite a select amount of shows this year. So we were absolutely honoured and thrilled to be invited back to Pentre Fest. It's one of those gigs that we wanted and looked at for quite a few years. So we're going to bring a massive show to you. It's our first show back, you know, this year, and we're going to, you know, blow the cobwebs off. I'm just going to give everyone a really good night on a Friday night. So get your Macarena ready.
And there'll be a big orgy afterwards.
You think she's
The
joking?
Jägermeister.
So bring the lube as well, yeah.
Definitely
The lube?
Up at the top
That's
of the mountain.
cowardice.
Oh, well, I was going to say, let's be fair. We should probably let Bam Bam know about this Jaeger game, because he's going to throw all the money.
Don't tell him about the orgy.
Don't tell him.
Don't tell him about the orgy. I don't
need
need to see that.
Otherwise, you'll be glad.
Well, we generally do it before the headliners. So while you're setting up, that's when we'll probably be doing the game.
Okay.
There'll be no kit on the
Oh,
stage.
God.
He'll be there throwing pounds at it.
He'll be picking it from the stage.
Right, well, Beanie's kind of tripping out at the bottom. All I'm going to say is if you are watching this, you can see Ward 16 at Pentre Fest on the 24th of February 2023 at McLean's Pub in D-Side. 10:30 there on stage. Come down and watch them. It's going to be an amazing show. Thank you, guys. We will see you there.
Decide to be there.
Thank you.